So the first thing you're going to do, just like every other baking recipe, is to preheat your oven. Now for this recipe you need a standard 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degree Fahrenheit or gas mark 4 temperature for your normal oven, but for the fan oven that would be 160 to 170 degrees or about 320 to 338 degrees Fahrenheit basically. First one I said was Celsius. Okay, now let's get into the recipe. First, we're going to start with our wet ingredients. Now that has several components to it. And first, we're going to start with the milk. So you're going to steam about 60 ml of full cream milk. And make sure it just heats up to steaming point, not completely boiling, but just a little bit steaming. Then you're going to add about 100 grams of granulated caster sugar. You can add less if you like. Now 110 grams of brown sugar, that one is more important, it really gives your brownie character. You're going to mix the two sugars and then add that to your milk, or the other way around, it's okay. Basically you just want to mix everything together until you get a nice molasses-like thick kind of syrup. It's a little thin but a little bit thick as well, if you can see the consistency I've shown you. Now you're going to go in with about 30 ml of full-fat Greek yogurt. Remember, it must be thick yogurt. This is what will give your brownies structure. And you're going to mix everything together into a nice molasses-like syrup again. When you put it between your fingers, there should still be some granules visible of sugar, but it should have just kind of come together, not too thick, not too thin. Most people will start baking generally by creaming together sugar and butter. Now this is kind of okay when we're making a cake, but in this case brownies need a very specific kind of structure, which is why we will need the sugar to dissolve properly, which is why we use it in liquid, why we first start with liquid and then we start with the warm milk to make it easier for the sugar to dissolve. So now let's go on to our chocolate. I've taken about 200 grams of semi-sweet baking chocolate, which I found in my baking section. These are the chocolate chip variety. Because it was easy for me to find, I went with that. If you want, you can use any other cooking chocolate that you like, or couverture chocolate, or just high quality dark chocolate. So now I'm going to add about 84 grams of salted butter to that. And you can use either two methods. So you can use either the microwave method or the double boiler method. I decided to go with the microwave method. So what I did was I just put everything into a bowl and put it in my microwave and microwaved it for bursts of about 30 to 45 seconds until I got a nice melted chocolate mixture. Everything should be nice and liquidy soft. So for the double boiler method, you'll need a saucepan. Just fill up your saucepan first with a lot of water and bring it to boil. Next, put a heat-proof bowl on it and then put your chocolate and butter in that, and then you're going to melt it until you get that same mixture that I've shown you over here. Both ways are fine. And now your melted chocolate should look something like this, nice and glossy. Then you're ready for step 3. Now this is a bit more different compared to other brownies that you would normally make, and this is what is the most important step because it forms the gluten, which is what's going to make your brownie really nice and fudgy. Take some yogurt, 30 ml again of thick yogurt, add the same amount of flour, 30 grams, and mix it into a nice dough. So it should look a little bready, basically nice creamy bready consistency, like almost gluey, so that it forms a gluten that you will need for your brownie. Now after you're done with that, you can keep it aside. Next, you're going to add in your dry ingredients basically through a sifter, not in the same bowl but in a separate bowl. So I'm going to take about 112 grams of all-purpose flour, 15 grams of cocoa powder, less than a quarter teaspoon or about 1.2 grams of baking powder, and about 1/8 of a teaspoon or a pinch of baking soda. Sift everything together using a sieve or a sifter as I like to call it, and make sure all the lumps are no longer there. Next, you're going to keep all this aside and then work with everything all together at once. You're going to add in your melted chocolate and then add in your syrup, and then we're going to shift over to the beater and just mix everything well. Make sure not to overmix your batter, otherwise it will not be the correct consistency.
Find on the
First,
net.
mix it with a whisk or your electric cake beater until it's nice and sticky and well combined. And then you will be ready to add in a little vanilla. So I went with vanilla essence. You can add in like real vanilla bean or vanilla extract if you like. Next, add in 30 grams of chopped walnuts and a few chocolate chips as well if you like. I just added in the walnuts for now. You're going to this time fold everything with a spatula. Do not use your beater anymore, otherwise it'll be overmixed. Next, you're going to grab your cake pan, which I've already lined with some paper. I'm going to pour the mixture in, and then I'm going to top it off with the rest of the chopped walnuts, about 60 grams of that, and about another 15 to 20 grams of chocolate chips or small chocolate pieces. And this is a real game changer for your brownie. Once you're done with that, you're going to bake your brownies for around 25 to 30 minutes or until it's mostly dry in the center like this. Test it with a toothpick. The corners should be mostly cooked, but the center should have like the tiny bit of melted chocolate that you're looking for. Time should be around 25 to 35 minutes, but it could take as long as about 45 minutes to an hour. So just keep an eye on it. After your brownies are cooled, you're going to remove them from your paper and the pan, and then cut it from the top and cut it from the sides as well. Basically score it first and then cut it into nice neat slices. Be as gentle with it as possible. So after you're done with that, you have a beautiful delicious brownie that you can enjoy. And brownies are best eaten warm with vanilla ice cream and chocolate sauce. However, I even like them cold. So enjoy it however you like, and then share it with loved ones. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you with the next recipe.